So I know what you're all thinking. Us Trumpsters are a bunch of stupid inbreds that don't know how to do anything. But I bet you don't even know what that is. I bet you don't even know why that's a problem. And I bet you didn't get a motor that wasn't running to start going again. So when you start pointing fingers about all these stupid people, how many of you can even change your oil? None of you. That's how we do it. Killer. So we're down here working on the boat because it ain't running. But the only thing that is running are all these PETA people's mouths. We're out here trying to make a living, and all you're doing is trying to shut us down. You're trying to say that it's cruelty what we're doing, but what you don't realize is the only reason lobsters are even thriving in the United States is because we're feeding them. You think we're killing lobsters? We're only keeping 1% of even the lobsters that are down on the bottom of the ocean. And last time I knew, you fucking liberals were all against the 1%, but apparently now you're all for them. So, put it this way. These lobsters are the biggest cannibals on the bottom of the ocean, and they're related to the spider. But I don't see you marching for everybody killing spiders now, do we? But now that they've lost their hair and they're a little bit cuter, all of a sudden you think you can march on them. Just a bunch of big old hypocrites, and that's all you've ever been. So when you see someone fighting against lobster, saying that the lobstermen are down here killing them, we're actually feeding them. And later on, I'll show you how our traps are designed like an all-you-can-eat buffet, that the only people who we get to keep are the ones who get too fat from eating too much, and then we keep them and sell them. But if they get too big, they get a free ride for the rest of their life. And that's what a lot of people don't know about Maine lobster. Put it this way, without the lobstermen, we've caught, I don't know how many millions of pounds of lobsters, and that's only the small little chunk of lobsters that we can actually keep. But if we didn't fish for lobster, within 10 years, there wouldn't even be the 1%. We'd probably lose 99% of the product due to them eating each other to death. These things, the only thing that keeps them thriving is us being there. So if you want to keep the Maine lobster, you keep the Maine lobster fishermen that are growing them. You don't fight against them. Alright, so all you out here don't understand how a lobster fucking works. We throw on bait in the trap right there. We're taking up gear now, so I'm not worrying about it. Lobster crawls in, climbs here, goes in the back. Now it's getting caught. You can see, way too small, ate for free. Way too small, ate for free. That one's probably good. Good. Measuring from the eye. Oh, just under. Just under. That one. Throw it back. Another one. So, we're obviously not doing good here. They've got a little set on them. But the whole point is, without us feeding these things, I only got, what did we get, one out of that? Yeah. And there was still 4 or 5, 2 of them out of there. There's still a few that were no good. Another one, no good. Free meal. So tell me, who else is on the bottom of the ocean feeding these things for free? They crawl in here, get to the back, then as long as they can fit out through here, or here, or here, we don't get to keep them. They eat for free, go in here, get bigger. They spend about 7 years doing that, coming in through here. Those 5 lobsters that were left, probably 1,000 lobsters, no shitting, went through there and ate for free and right out the back. So it's an all-you-can-eat buffet that we leave the doors open, and when you're too fat to fit out the friggin' door, you're stuck, and now's my chance to keep you. So we're only keeping them this big from the eye to the head. Then once they get that much bigger, so another few years, if they get any bigger than this next size, we gotta throw them away, and then they live for life just as a breeder. So tell me any other business that takes the best product and throws it overboard for a breeder. We're keeping 1% of these lobsters, not even in a year, we're keeping 1%. And all the rest we're feeding for the rest of their lives. So to all you PETA people, there's a big one of these, because I don't see you feeding anybody but your own egos. So here's my theory about the true purpose of these PETA people, these vegans, vegetarians. See, they're not so mad about what you're eating, but what they're really mad about, they're not mad about the death of what you're eating, but what they're really mad about is the joy that you get when you're eating foods that they can't have. You see, one of the best things you do in life, probably a good 25% of your life, I don't know, in my life, a lot of my joy is having a good meal that I don't have to think 100 different ways from Saturday of how I can eat it without offending something. I just simply enjoy my life and I eat what I like. These vegans, they have to go through an act of Congress before they can even accept to eat something. And it's not so much that they don't like the taste, because most of them will admit, oh, they wish they could, but they just can't let themselves do it. They're really not letting themselves do is they're so afraid that all the people in high school and that grew up that always gave them shit like, someday you're not gonna be a veggie, someday I'm gonna laugh. Well, they're so worried that someday those people are gonna see on Facebook that they're still around, and the thought of them seeing them with a freaking burger in their mouth, oh my God, the shit they would get. Oh yeah, we gotta get that. They absolutely could not handle the fact that you could catch them doing what they said they would never do since they were little kids. They're still afraid of that one day that someone's gonna come out and make fun of them. Because all of the vegetarians I've seen, they're always in a pissy mood when it comes to food. Oh, you wanna eat here, oh, you wanna eat there. Everything sucks for them when it revolves around eating. So what they really got a case of, they're just so freaking hangry. Hungry, angry, hangry. It's not that they really don't want you to eat these things because they're so cute and cuddly, because last time I saw someone cuddle with a lobster was never. But what they really want is they absolutely hate the joy that you experience that they can't experience themselves. And instead of just admitting that they're self-absorbed and everything they do is just for them, they're just so mad that there's one thing that they can't take away from you, and that's the joy of what you get when you eat a good meal, like a Maine lobster. So that's why I'm saying, everyone who just wants to say, fuck you, to all these people that are trying to tell you what you can and can't do, and what you can and can't eat in your life, go out and don't go to a supermarket and buy a lobster. You go right to any dock. You start waving around a little bit of green cash, I guarantee you're gonna find someone that's gonna give you a way better deal. And you wonder why they don't taste as good maybe some places? Lobsters taste like whatever the hell you let them live in. So if you're gonna let them live in a tank, you're gonna have to climb up there. I don't want, well, I can slide in. Now we'll pull in.
I'll go run up.
Next time you go out, don't go to the supermarket. You go out and you get yourself a fresh Maine lobster from the ocean. And number two, don't cook it in fresh water. If you take a salty Maine lobster and you submerge it in fresh water, you're going to dilute every single bit of flavor it is. It tastes like whatever the hell it lives in. No problem. Thank you. So that's the number two thing. Number one, go out, buy a Maine lobster from a Maine lobsterman. You don't need to get it off these other places. If it's $7 right now at a supermarket, it's probably $3.75 off the boat. So just think of that. All you got to do is take a little bit of time out of your day it makes someone else happy, and they're gonna make you happy because now you get twice the amount of Maine lobster for the same price. But like I said, number 2, don't fuck it up. Don't put it in fresh water and boil it that way. You need to put in about a big pot about that big and put that much water in it and just pound the sea salt to it, or any salt you really got. But it is going to taste like shit. It's gonna taste like mud. It's gonna taste like a crawfish if you put it in that like that. Why do you think they take crawfish and make them better by drowning them in Old Salt Bay or whatever that's called, that cayenne pepper? It's because they taste like mud. Well, they live in mud. They live in shit mud. They live in the overflow of septic systems. And that's why you gotta cover them up with something. But Maine lobster, if you do it right, you ain't even gonna use butter. You just eat it right out of the shell. Go down and scoop some salt water right from the ocean. Just make sure you don't see a little stream from someone's house running into it. So you heard it here first. Give one to those vegans by telling them, hey, leave me alone. You're just angry. Go eat something and then see if you're so pissed off in 5 minutes. Because I bet that's really what the problem is. They say you're a liberal when you're a kid and you become conservative as you get older, which is obviously true. Because until you know what bills are, you just think money grows on trees. Take these tags out for different traps. Some of this gear sat for a little while, so doesn't have much left in it, and anything that does is either probably good. Notice how liberals always want you to eat things, not eat things that they already don't like. I'll keep eating tasty animals until the day they say we're not going to eat vegetables anymore. Because, I don't know, you call it a head of lettuce, so when you technically cut the lettuce out of the ground, you just ripped its head off, didn't you? You don't see us bitching and moaning. So it's just another thing. How liberals, you know, how we feel about them on the worst day. Just imagine how their parents feel about them. The only person their parents learned how to block the call on. They might say hi to their faces, but when they leave, they say, oh, that Deborah, you know, someday, Gary, she's gonna change. Her dad just goes, boom, fucking thinks about, man, I wish I had a boy. Or no, the new one will be, call him Michelle. They'll say, I ain't calling my fucking son Michelle. Well, he identifies as Michelle. And I'd say, well, I identify as the father of Michael.